name's Gaye Bloomfield. I teach at Nayland College in Nelson, which is a co-ed school. And Sarah and I, who's at Nelson College for Girls, we put together this idea that we wanted to look at the 3 E's for us, which was e-learning, engagement and effectiveness, and put together a group of people, you can see in the picture there, to see if we couldn't tease out some of the potential answers to how to actually make the best use of these devices in the classroom. Because the feeling that both of us had is that people are kind of embracing the idea of bring your own device, but just kind of hoping for the best.
The heart of this project was to allow teachers to keep that focus of learning and teaching in the classroom, and how would the use of technology or e-learning, how could we take that pedagogy and bring about better learning, and how do we know what that looks like? I think you know, when this learning group began, and Nelson College for Girls, I would say, would be a year behind Nayland in terms of this initiative. It's getting carried away with devices and the tools, but actually looking at how does that translate into good teaching.
If teachers were going to put effort into planning a unit, we wanted to kind of have a plan. Is it going to be effective? Is it, it's going to improve learning outcomes and raise achievement? Is it going to be fun? And maybe we thought we might get to the point where we might know when the devices would go on or off. So it was that idea that it wasn't about flipping the classroom. It was about blending traditional face-to-face with what we would hope to discover to be the best of online activities.
From the get-go, we've just maintained a blog, and that's helped to, because we are across 2 schools and we're across departments, even though you share a facility, often you may not see your colleague for weeks. So this has allowed us to maintain a sense of connection in between meetings.
So this is our first email that we sent out, so that's in early March. So we gave teachers a couple of weeks to get to know names and faces and timetables, and then worked on a sales pitch to try to sell them a little dream about creating a bottom-up group that would feed them but extend them as well. So a little phrase like a teacher looking for a bang for your buck was something that we spent a bit of time kind of going, yeah, that's the vibe that we want. We wanted them to be spread reasonably evenly across both schools, but also, more importantly, across departments. So we found, we had 2 people from the science department, 2 people that taught some child studies, those kind of things, so that they would have some curriculum areas in common. We spent a lot of time planning for that first meeting, and write down like you do when you're a beginning teacher. What are we going to say every couple of minutes? Who's going to say it? Because we wanted to role model from the beginning that we were prepared and that we knew what we were doing, and that it was an equal partnership between the 2 schools. And because we thought that would send a really clear kind of philosophy and a way of working that we wanted to role model, that we had some goals that for the year, and did they want to, at the end of that first meeting, decide to commit. So that first meeting was set up the structure that we used all year. We met in a local cafe, and we used 2 different cafes over the year. We kind of found the one that's met our needs and kept going back there. Important to have coffee, little morning tea nibbles, that kind of thing. And each time the meeting lasted for about 2 hours, and Sarah and I would have either gotten there first or met late the day before, and just made sure that we were sort of in sync, and we gave ourselves time afterwards. So we were probably at the venue for about 3 hours each time, just so that we would either run through what we wanted to do or blog about it straight afterwards, so that everything was live, everything was current. So we ended up meeting or emailing monthly.
And I think at the beginning I felt like we were driving it a little bit, that our role was a little bit of that sort of leadership type role. And I guess that's because the teachers that were on board wanted to be there, but they were sort of looking to us for, so what are we doing here and how is this going to work? So I guess that's why we felt with the need to make sure everyone felt that this was a purposeful group and that we were here with a common interest. To get a feeling for what the climate of our meetings look like, you know, on this day, the third meeting, the third time we'd met, and we had our sheets and we were having these professional conversations between science teachers and early childhood teacher, and what are you doing with yours, and what's that, what is that application, what is that tool, how's that going, why would you do that better than, say, you know, how you've done it before. And in terms of what that looked like, it was very productive, and so then to go back and write on the blog, I went home and I tried this, and I went to my classroom yesterday and I did this, and you know, for that 1 hour meeting, the amount of growth in terms of our own development driven by ourselves was quite a lot larger.
So everybody had the opportunity to be an expert, because there were some e-learning just techniques that people were discovering and sharing, but everybody also had the opportunity to ask that question of, well, did it make a difference to achievement compared to what you did last year? Were the students actually more engaged? Overall, was it actually more effective than doing it the way you did it last year in terms of preparation and planning and bang for your buck? So we kept trying to resell this idea about getting bang for your buck, but not being afraid of getting messy and it not working, and it didn't have to be perfect, you could just make a start. And I think we were quite successful about that. All of the teachers felt that they gained some momentum and some traction during the year, that we were an interesting group to be a part of, and that their peers were interested in what they were doing. I discovered that when you make things available in an e-learning environment, the students use them very differently. So I had a PowerPoint that it's gold. You know, I've used it for several years. It explains this concept really well. But when I show it, my students have to sit there lockstep. We all have to go at the same pace, and they're reasonably passive unless I'm doing my job very well and engage with them. When it becomes an online e-learning activity, they go through it really fast, some of them, and then they go backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Others of them much slower than I would. And that freedom is just really liberating.
This learning group is unparalleled in the structure of our school, that what I have achieved this year in terms of my own professional growth as a teacher, and the explorative way that I've gone about doing it, and the motivation that has driven me forward is not to do with me and my facilitation role, or although it was to begin with, is that this package doesn't exist anywhere else in my professional life. As people gained confidence, they were doing their own research in their own time, and they were exploring applications of e-learning in their classroom, and so that just seemed to, motivation and success just seemed to drive motivation and success.
Heading into the future for us is a model of professional development. It's good in that it's bottom up, and it's not part of any other line management kind of things. It was really personalised, even though we did drive it quite a bit at the start. and they're obviously wanting to stay involved, so that they must be getting something from it. In terms of taking that and applying it in other places, I think you'd have to understand the subtleties in encouraging people to get involved, because it's not scary, but actually you do have to do something, and you do have to push yourself out.
I would like to see how this model could become something that the wider teaching body become part of.
One of the really interesting things for us was that we were under the radar, like Sarah was saying. It was kind of our own process, and that was a really good place to be, to try new things, and then it started seeping out into the rest of the school, and people interested in what we were doing.